Hello and welcome to this special mini episode of the Freakish Lemon video podcast. I am your host, the Freakish Lemon. I go by Adrian and I use masculine pronouns. You can follow me at all the fun places as Freakish Lemon, such as Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Ravelry, Etsy. Show notes, what little there will be for this episode, will be over at my blog at freakishlemon.com. Links to everything will be at all the fun places. We do have a Ravelry group. Just search Freakish Lemon in the groups tab and you'll find us. There's not that many things out there called Freakish Lemon. We should be pretty easy to find. Welcome to any new viewers. This is not a typical episode. This is going to be a special, basically a haul video for my trip to Stitches Midwest. And thanks any returning viewers for coming back to see what I've hauled back from Illinois with me. Stitches Midwest is a fiber convention knitting thingy, which happens out in Schaumburg, Illinois, which is about a half hour out from Chicago. Myself, my sister Gabby from the Once Upon a Corgi podcast, and our mom flew out there on Thursday, so we had plenty of time to go to the event Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and also get some Chicago exploration and putzing around everywhere else. And then we flew back on Monday. Today is Tuesday. And yes, this is the Monday where the Delta systems crashed. We did fly Delta back home. We were in the, not too hot, not too cold zone where we were only delayed a half hour, which was fantastic. However, the driving traffic coming home was ridiculous. Our flight left a little after 3 o'clock, like 3:15 maybe. It was supposed to leave at 2:30. That's within the normal realms of, flight delays. And, but it took us an hour to get out of LaGuardia Airport because of the crazy traffic, because there's construction going on at LaGuardia, and also the Delta mess as well. So it took us an hour to get out of LaGuardia, because we were just sitting there for ages while nobody was moving. We think somebody did something with the traffic lights in LaGuardia Airport, because half of them weren't working. And the ones that were being overridden by traffic directing cops, which did not seem to be doing the best job that they could. And then we hit construction traffic on the Merritt Parkway in Connecticut between Greenwich and Stamford. So we were stuck there for another hour. We landed at about 6 o'clock. We didn't get home until after 9:30. It should be a less than 2 hour drive from LaGuardia to our house. On, if traffic isn't crazy. So that was super fun travel day. But we had a great time out in Illinois for Stitches Midwest. We got to hang out with a lot of our Illinois-based podcaster friends and got to hang out at the meetup on Saturday, hosted by the Two Tangled Skeins podcast. There was a bit of a mini... It was supposed to be a mini swap, but basically a few people just brought a bunch of minis and was like, take these home, I don't want them in my house anymore. So let's show you those first. These three are from the ladies from the Two Tangled Skeins, whose names I cannot remember because I'm terrible at names. I got these three from Allie and Abby at the Get Lit and Knit podcast. And I got the signature colorway from Melissa from the Spicy Homemaker podcast. Melissa, Allie, and Abby, and me, and Gabs, my mom and her friend Jerry, hung out a bunch Saturday, and we hung out with Melissa on Sunday, because she was driving home Sunday afternoon, evening time. So we got to hang out with them a lot and just sit and talk and knit. And we did film a piece or a whole episode, who knows what it'll end up being, of an episode of the Spicy Homemaker podcast. So if that episode is not up by the time this video is up, keep your eyes out for it. That should be fun. But yeah, this is basically a haul video. Because, I mean, Friday we walked around and we bought stuff and we walked around. And then Saturday we walked around, we sat and knit, and I had a class, which I'll talk about in a second, from 2 to 5. And then the marketplace closes at 6, so we just hung out and knit in the hotel lobby for a long time. And then Sunday we went around and we bought more things. And then it was over. So, yes. So let me show you what I have here. The first thing I purchased was not actually at Stitches Midwest. You can hear them clattering. Also, apologies for the lighting. The lighting changed from when I initially set this up. I've got one light here. I've got this window kind of... The shade is down, but it's still shining really strongly on that side of my face. This window is completely open. It's shining really strongly on that side of my face. But this is a mini episode. I wasn't going to set up the whole shebang for it, so apologies for any potential no shadowing, and also my sweaty face, because I had to turn off the fans. Anyway, first things I bought were not actually at the Stitches event. Right across from our hotel was a Legoland. It was basically a special Lego store that had activities for kids that I guess they go through a cool thing and they get to pick stuff out, and I don't know what they do because I'm 28 and therefore cannot go into that part of the building, not without stealing somebody's child to go with me, so that wasn't going to happen. But we did go to the Lego store, and they had a 3 for $15 deal on Lego keychains, so I bought the new Star Wars trio. So I have Rey, I have Finn, and I have Poe to add to my Star Wars Lego collection. There was plenty of Legos I wish I could have bought, and frankly probably could have with the money that I had with me, but would not have made it back on the plane with me very well, because we were not checking baggage. It was a carry-on and a backpack or a tote bag or whatever else you had with you. So, if anything was going to exceed it, we were going to mail it to ourselves instead of checking baggage. So I got these, which I'm very pleased by, and that was the first purchase I made out in Schaumburg, Illinois, that wasn't food. So, before I get into the rest of my purchases, let me show you the freebies I got. I took a class called Single Crochet Entrelac with Marley Bird, who is the host of the Yarn Things podcast. She is also the spokesperson for Red Heart Yarns, and she does a bunch of classes on Craftsy, and the other one that I can't remember what it's called, but it's kind of like Craftsy, only you pay a subscription fee and you get access to all the class videos on there. Creative Bug, that's what it's called. So we basically had a class going through the different portions of this pattern designed by Marley Bird for Single Crochet Entrelac, which is a really interesting technique for crochet. I've never done knit entrelac, but it was a really great class. She was really great at managing the different levels of skill or understanding in her class, because there were people who got it right off the bat, there were people who were really struggling with it, and there was one or two folks who were just kept getting stuck whenever the directions changed, and she was great with all of it. If you ever get a chance to take a class with Marley Bird, I highly recommend it. Frankly, that was the reason I took that class. I didn't have any particular interest in learning single crochet entrelac, but I really wanted to take a class with Marley Bird, and it did not disappoint. So, just real quick, here's my swatch. She recommended going up a hook size from what it actually said in the pattern, but I didn't have any other hooks with me, so I just had the, I think, size G hook. So it's a little bit of a stiff fabric, but it's just scrap acrylic yarn that I happen to have to bring. But it was really cool to learn, and I'm definitely thinking about maybe doing another scrap blanket with this type of construction. But because she's the spokesperson for Red Heart said, hey, give out a bunch of our stuff. at the show to your classes? And she said, only if you send me the soft yarn. Because they have a base called Red Heart Soft. It is 100% acrylic, but it is softer than Super Saver, which has softened up incredibly over the past decade. So, free yarn. I am not a naysayer of acrylic yarn. I do believe it has its place. For my particular stuff, it's in blankets, and it's a great, cost-effective blanket ridiculousness. This stuff is actually pretty soft, and she said that it's not available everywhere. So she brings this particular base to shows because not a lot of people, I guess, have run into it out in the wild. I think our local Joann's in Waterbury has some of this, but not a lot, if I remember correctly. But it's been a while since I've been to that Joann's. But yeah, free yarn. Can't say no to free yarn. Also, they sent along these lockable stitch markers. Now, she said in years previous, there have been problems with these stitch markers snapping. And there was somebody there who had some of the old ones and they snapped immediately. These, she said that they were working on fixing the plastic so that it didn't snap, and she was in the process of running it through a whole bunch of tests. But since these were free, might as well give them a try and see if they hold up. So I got some free stitch markers. We'll see how they hold up. If anybody's interested in how they hold up, just let me know in a month or two, and we'll see if they still work or if they're snapping. So that was my free stuff. I bought a bunch of stuff. Let me show you the bag first. I bought this bag. I didn't intend to be buying bags really at all. I thought if I was going to buy a bag, I would probably buy an Erin Lane bag and probably one of the small sock bags. But her bags are great and everything, but there wasn't fabrics that really appealed to me in particular. I walked past this one booth. It's for free range bags. Here's their card. They are on Etsy, and they do custom orders. So if you like what I'm going to show you right now, there's an opportunity for a custom order. It was a $45 bag, and it is well worth it. The price was a bit of a surprise on my budget, but well worth it. Here it is. It's a Star Wars bag. Most of her bags were $40. This one was $45 because of the fabric cost. I saw a bunch of people with this Ray fabric who did bags, not so much with this Star Wars fabric. I don't know which is the more expensive or if they were both more expensive than normal fabrics, but here it is. This is a pocket on both sides. You have your handle, a nice sturdy handle. You have a ribbon loop. This bag is interfaced with that fleece interfacing, the fusible fleece interfacing. Like, you can see how fat this bag is. So it has that kind of quilted feel. Sorry, I keep looking at myself and not the lens. We were just talking about this. All the podcasters. Inside, you have 3 open pockets. You have 2 little loops, which you can either use to hold stitch markers, or they're intended to be yarn guides. So if you are doing a 2-color project or 2-at-a-time socks, you don't tangle your yarn. You just feed them through the little loops, and then you know what side those yarns are supposed to be on. Then on the other side, there is a zippered pocket for notions. So you have your main compartment, 3 interior pockets, 1 zipper pocket, and 2 exterior pockets, which Melissa was saying it's great to throw your phone in here, or if you're going to tuck a pattern in here, or whatever. This is a fantastic bag. I highly recommend going and checking out their stuff. It's really well made and it's going to last me a long time. And it's Star Wars, so of course I had to have it. Also a bit of a surprise purchase for me. I wasn't planning on buying mini skeins. I knew it would be a possibility, but it wasn't planned out in my brain. But we went to Brew City Yarns like first thing Friday morning because Gabby had a shawl in mind with specific colorways from Brew City Yarns that you will see on her podcast. Brew City Yarns does a lot of fandom colorways with bright colors. And I saw the Star Wars yarns and I couldn't make up my mind, so I got a mini skein set of all of their Star Wars yarns. All of them. I may go back and buy full skeins of some of these, but for now, I have all of them in minis. They also had their Christmas minis and their Halloween minis, and I was tempted by their Halloween minis, but some of the colorways were a little too close together. But next to the Halloween was the Scooby Doo mini skein set, which satisfied the like Halloween-y parts of my brain with like Velma here and like just this shade of green. Like that really worked out, satisfying the Halloween part of my brain. And it's Scooby Doo. You kind of can't go wrong with Scooby Doo. And now on to the real yarn. One of my goals was to buy a sock blank at the show, and I did. Leading Men Fiber Arts had a couple of sock blanks available. This is the it's an improv sock blank, and this is the color Smell a Rat. It's 75 superwash merino, 25% nylon, 463 yards for 100 grams, and this is what it looks like. That's fantastic, right? I couldn't pass it up. It's just, like, I just love this bit with, like, the browns and, like, it almost seems like some of these colors kind of separated a little. You know how some purple dyes separate into blue and red? It looks like some of that might have been happening a little bit. But it looks fantastic. Definitely happy with that purchase. I also planned on getting yarn for Isabel from Fluffy Fibers, Verdure shawl. Now Gabby's knit this shawl in yarn she dyed herself, and she needed 2 skeins to do it. I am a loose knitter, I have a loose gauge, so I also bought 2 skeins to do it. But I wanted to do a fall version of the shawl. Lots of people were doing a spring version. Gabby did a goth version in the colorway Dark Like My Soul. But I saw this copper penny colorway from the Grinning Gargoyle and thought it was perfect for a shawl version of the, or fall version, words are hard, fall version of the Verdure shawl. And this is in their Kalesi sock colorway. It looks like it should be Khaleesi, but it's not spelled the same way. So I don't know if it's pronounced Essie or Ec, but there you go. It's 70% merino, 20% yak, and 10% nylon. I wasn't even looking at the fiber content when I bought it, but that's a pretty cool fiber, so I'm excited about starting that. I also went back to Leading Men Fiber Arts on Sunday and got 10% off, spinning their little wheel of discounts, and got this color. It's a little more brown in real life than what's showing up on the screen. It's from their Spotlight base, which is 80% superwash BFL, 20% nylon. It's in the Steve and Andy colorway. Fingering weight yarn. I figured this would look good with the lichen colorway that Eric from Sticks Plus Twine sent me, maybe to do a 2-color something with. I have to actually go compare it, but it looked in the right color family to go with it. I also went to Three Irish Girls that Sunday. They were having a sale on their kits, 2 skein kits. I think it was 15% off, but I could be wrong. And I got the Chop Chop shawl kit. This colorway is Space Oddity, and this colorway is Man on the Moon. These are worsted weight skeins, 100% merino. And the Chop Chop shawl is a ribbed, held double, not shawl, cowl. Oh, I'm still tired from traveling yesterday. But I think I have a worsted weight shawl in my queue that would look really nice with these 2 yarns together. And then where I broke the bank was at a vendor called Fresh from the Cauldron. They have incredible, incredible colorways, and their one that they were showing off was their graduated skeins, which is almost like a gradient. I don't know what the difference between a gradient and a graduated skein really is technically, but it starts at one color and it goes to another. They also have variegated and self-striping, but those ones really kind of caught everybody's eye, I think. So the first one I bought, which is the one that really pulled me into the booth, was this skein of Radioactive. It's 100% superwash merino fingering, 400 yards, 100 grams, but it's this bright neon highlighter green, like Nickelodeon slime green, going to this like rust blood color. It's really, really fantastic. I don't think the camera's doing it justice, but it's really, really fascinating to look at in real life. This one also caught my eye, so I had to buy it. This is Painting the Roses Red, same base, another graduated. It starts from this kind of creamy white and goes to a dark blood red, which will be really cool. And it might get paired up with this colorway, which is Valerian, same base, which is a light gray out to a dark gray in kind of a like a bloody goth shawl. We'll see what happens with that, but I think that would be super cool. If I could find a pattern that would show both of these off, kind of gradiating out towards the edges together, that would be super cool. And that is what I bought. Yeah. Now you can see how this would have made a regular episode very long indeed, considering I'm already a long episode podcaster. I'll have all the information for all these things in the show notes, which will definitely be at my website at freakishlemon.com. It may also be in the thread in the Ravelry group for this episode. It depends on how long it takes me to do it. But, it was a great trip. I definitely recommend going out to that show if you have a chance to go. I probably won't be flying out there anytime soon, unfortunately. But it was definitely worth going to. I'm really glad I went. We all had a great time. Nothing went horribly wrong, which was nice. That's the stuff you worry about, right? Something going horribly wrong. But it was a great trip. Great vacation. Full days, but definitely not days that dragged. We couldn't believe how late it was every single night. I mean, the time difference was just enough that we were waking up at 5:30 in the morning wide awake. But the day did not drag, and you'd be like, oh my god, it's 11 o'clock at night? How did this happen? So it was great. It was great to see all the people I got to see, both at the podcaster meetup and just hanging out. Yeah. I know I'll get to see some of those people again at Rhinebeck, so can't wait to see you folks there. And that's it for this fiber trip. Next one is probably the Western Connecticut yarn crawl at the end of September. So I'll talk more about that once I know what's going on in the regular podcast. And I will see you all later. Goodbye.